And hello, welcome to the 2024 high school football season. It's coming up, and we are back with you here on the Central Florida Blitz. Joshua Wilson of FloridaHSFootball.com. Of course, I'm Marty Pallman, getting the band back together for another season. And as we look forward to week 0, I guess they call it, preseason games coming up. But Josh, it's been a long off season as usual. Of course, since we,
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been a long. It feels like it's been a long off season, but it seems to go pretty quickly here, you know. And honestly, it's hard to believe that we are actually already here for the 2024 season. And yeah, we're the band's back together. We're kind of getting ready to go here. It's week 0, and actually there are games that count this week, Marty.
Yes, there are, and we'll talk about that as this goes on. Of course, we will bring you 4 regional shows here on Monday and Tuesday nights. This is the Central Florida Blitz is our first one, but yeah. As you said, the SSAA, we'll talk about that as their season gets started this Friday night. Meanwhile, the FHSAA teams will play their preseason classics, kickoff classics this Friday before starting week 1 next Friday. We want to thank our, I guess he's definitely one of our sponsors, Philip Crutchfield. He definitely helps us with Josh and I with a lot of different things. No two of us are exactly alike. That's why you need a financial advisor with the freedom to focus on the details that make your life your own, your family, the challenges you face, the dreams that inspire you. Whatever your goals, you need an advisor who can create a plan uniquely tailored to you, all backed by the sophisticated resources of Raymond James. That's life well planned. To learn more, call financial advisor Philip Crutchfield at 352-642-8330. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC. Again, that number 352-642-8330. Well, Josh, go ahead, and if you want to set the table for us tonight, we'll have
Well, yes, indeed. We'll definitely set the table coming up here. Later on, we will have our pick 6 at near the end of the show, and then we are going to introduce the fan question of the week, which we'll talk about how that's going to work, and the fan poll of the week. And then we got Dwight Thomas joining us here a little bit later from Catapult Sports. Dwight Thomas, he is definitely one of our favorites. And Dwight Thomas, if you've heard the name, he coached a guy named Emmitt Smith back in the day.
A couple state titles at Escambia High. And yeah, I think a guy that hopefully we'll be able to get him in the FHSAA Hall of Fame one of these days. He should be there.
Yeah, no, I agree. He definitely deserves to be there, and we'll talk to him about some things there as well and everything. Yeah. But definitely looking forward to talking to Dwight Thomas and everything. And then, of course, we have got this. If you know that sound, it is time for the Blitz Lines. The Blitz Lines are back, and yeah, it definitely, we got a lot of stuff that has happened here during the off season here across the Sunshine State, and definitely looking forward to talking about some of the topics that we have on deck tonight as we prepared for the show last night, Marty, and we're going to talk about those here coming up here in a moment.
Yeah, it's funny, like I said, the off season, and you're right. I feel like it was a long time since we were in Tallahassee for the state championships last December, but you're right. The summer goes kind of fast, and all of a sudden it's here. I mean, but you're right. I guess right now, one of the first subjects we're going to have is kind of looking back on the off season and some of the big coaching changes in Central Florida. And I guess it kind of starts at the top with a defending state champion in Mainland.
No, absolutely. And let's talk about that with these top coaching changes that we've got here. And of course, as you said, the Mainland Buccaneers, that was probably the biggest top coaching change that we saw here this offseason in terms of Central Florida. And when we're talking about it, I mean, Travis Rowland going up I-95 to Camden County in Georgia, that right there was a huge move. It sent shockwaves through not just Central Florida, but the entire state, Marty. And honestly, I can tell you this, it's going to be interesting to see how the transition from Travis Rowland to Jeremy Bell happens. Jeremy Bell is a cousin of Travis Rowland. Jeremy Bell played for Mainland. Jeremy Bell did get the Port Orange Atlantic Sharks. He head coach the last 3 years, did get him to a district championship last year. So, yeah, they met their unfortunate match against Bradford in the first round. Right. So,
that's a tough first round matchup. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is a big story because we talked to Travis Rowland on our show last year, and he was pretty excited about that team. And as it turned out, their first state championship in 20 years, 2003 was the last time Mainland had won a state title. But you're right, Travis Rowland, a Mainland grad as well, and it's always hard to leave your alma mater. But I got to say, Camden County's a really good job. I mean, it really is.
No, absolutely, and and especially with the amount they pay coaches in Georgia versus the amount they pay here in Florida, it's definitely very interesting. I wondered at one point when Travis Rowland stepped down, was he going to take his cousin up to Camden County, which would have left Malin in a situation, but Jeremy, he decided stay back, get a chance to coach the alma mater, and. A lot of high expectations there for Jeremy, to be able, but he's got a lot of, assistant coaching background outside of being a head coach. And for him, Treasure Coast, he worked with Urban Jones. I'm making sure that I'm getting the name correct here. Urban Jones, the head coach down at Treasure Coast. So, Treasure Coast has been a really top, one of the top programs, not only just in the Treasure Coast area, but across the entire state over the last few years. And of course, that actually goes back over a decade if you want to look at it with Treasure Coast. So Jeremy Bell will definitely be a key addition there for the Mainland Buccaneers. And
any other coaching changes? Probably not as big as Mainland, but some that are going to be impactful coming into this season.
Well, Frank Scott leaving Eustis to go to Leesburg, that is definitely a big one after Leesburg had that 10-2 season last year. And then, Frank Scott's going to take over a team that, a lot of people wondering, what was Leesburg, a fluke and everything. And we want to remind everybody real quick as I go through this discussion, if you got a comment or you got a question for us, you can drop that in the comments on Facebook, Twitter, or Twitter as they call it X, and our YouTube. We will see those comments pop up here, and you can see that on our screen. And then if you got a question or anything, just pop that comment in there in the comment box, and we may just pop it up here on the screen as we roll along here, Marty.
Yeah, we will do that for you, in fact. But yeah, you mentioned Frank Scott. Leesburg's coach has moved on. You're right, 10-2 they were last year, so that was quite a year for them as well. And really, other than that, I'm kind of I can't really think of another really coaching change that wasn't nearly as big as those two. I know nearly as big as Mainland. Yeah. That was the big one. And speaking of that, is Mainland, are they going to be able to repeat as state champs?
Yes, into the thing, and they actually can. Coco, Mainland, or the Masters Academy. And why the Masters Academy? They won the SSAA state championship title in 11-man football. So we're not biased to the SSAA by any means here on the Central Florida Blitz.
No, we're going to talk a lot about the SSAA, especially coming up this week. Our pick sixes they'll consist of SSAA games as their season gets started this week, mostly. But yeah, you mentioned Coco going for a three-peat this season, and they've been there before in this situation. And Coco last year, very dominant team as usual. They had no problem. Had a close game with Bradford in the state championship, but again undefeated, won a state title. And then, as you said, Masters Academy, another team. That's Masters Academy of Oviedo.
Yes.
Who was, as you say, won the SSAA. Excuse me, I can't even say it. SSAA 11-man title. FHSAA,
Yeah, it definitely went, especially when the acronym used to be SSAC.
Yes, correct. So they changed the C to the A, but.
Yes, and we'll definitely think. But honestly, if out of those three teams, I honestly think Coco is the team that is going to have the best chance. Now, why do I don't think Mainland has the best chance? Well, with the reclassification, it changed everything. And when we look at it, there's Class 5A. This is where Mainland was placed at. There's defending state champs in Lakeland, and there's defending state champs in St. Thomas Aquinas sitting in that classification. And honestly, that is a tough gauntlet to deal with right there.
Yeah, they didn't get any favors from being reclassified, as you said. Mainland now, of course, we're going back from the last year. That was the
past 2 years.
2 years, yeah. The
Metro Suburban. I mean,
yeah, 3S state title was the one that Mainland won last year. And now they're back in 5A, so yeah, it changed a little bit as well. But yeah, I mean, Aquinas and Lakeland, that's quite a gauntlet there. And I guess so we can, as we'll talk about this as this show goes on, but some other teams may be a little happier in 6A because they don't have to see Lakeland or
yeah, and there's going to be some teams that maybe in 6A. I mean, definitely when you look down, go down the 4A, 3A. That's going to be another situation where there's going to be some teams winning some state championships that maybe if not were on the radar last couple years. So we'll see what happens there. But looking at it here with some of these teams, it definitely, I think, honestly, it just how the state championship's going to roll. That's going to be the next question, honestly. And looking at the next in the line of all this, how about this one in terms of the headlines here? And Edgewater traveling to Europe to play NFL Academy, the first team, the first team, public school team in Florida to go do this, to go play NFL Academy, and it's a preseason game.
Yeah, and I actually I had not heard of the NFL Academy, and I looked this up yesterday, and they're all over the world. I mean, but the one in Europe is one of the bigger ones that the NFL Academy has. But yeah, that's quite a trip for a Florida high school team to go all the way to they're going. I think it's Great Britain, right? Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So, over to Europe, yes.
So Europe. So that's going to be quite a trip for them. It's not a game that counts. It's kind of like basically a kickoff classic, but it'll show Edgewater where they are early in the season.
No, absolutely. And honestly, taking a look at everything here, I think Edgewater, it's an experience. They actually left this past Friday, went over. They're already over in London right now. They've been doing some school field trip activities there. And, of course, school's starting around most of the state, by the way, today. So a lot of schools took in session today, and I think Orange County was one of them. So the football players, they're getting a kind of a excused absence. I guess they're getting counted as being at school, but they're on a school field trip, basically.
Yeah, it might be doing well. There's not a whole lot of schoolwork the first week, although it may be more so than it used to be. But yeah, maybe they have to do their homework. Well,
yes, I'm sure they're getting some homework there and everything. And
but you're right. Today actually was a lot of schools got back in session today. I know here in Alachua County they were back. Marion County nearby, up to Duval and Clay, and a lot of the schools are getting back in action, or getting back in session today.
No, absolutely. And of course, as we said, everybody, if you got a comment or you want to drop a thing for us, the seed, we can answer any questions or talk about anything, just drop the comment in the comment box on all the social media platforms we are streaming on. That's including Facebook, YouTube, and X. All right, the last topic here on the Blitz lines for the opening show, to the top 10 preseason games, 10 preseason games you really should watch, I think, and, that are really exciting here. And a couple of ones that really stood out to me here, Marty, include Seminole versus Jones, which will be actually this Saturday at Camping World Stadium. That'll be a big one right there. Obviously, Edgewater NFL Academy, that's another one we just talked about there. And Mainland's taking on O'Galley, Rockledge at Palm Bay Heritage, Merritt Island at New Smyrna Beach. And looking at a couple other ones, Orange City University in Matanzas, and then we got Oviedo at Lake Mary. So and Dr. Phillips at Boone. So hey, if you're in Central Florida, you got a nice selection of games to choose from.
Not to mention Osceola, Osceola is going to Bishop Moore, and Gainesville Buell's heading to Spruce Creek for their kickoff classic. So that'll be a good test right away. Really, that would be a heck of a first week of games, really, that schedule. But you're right, I think Mainland O'Galley will be definitely one to watch. Seminole and Jones. I mean, Jones is literally across the street from Camping World Stadium, so they're just going to walk over, I guess, and play Sanford Seminole.
That's how they usually do it.
Yeah. And,
that's how they usually do it. But,
and I'm sure that's why Jones, when they've been making it to the state championship game last few years, wishes it was back in Orlando. but no, it hasn't been. They played in Daytona Beach in the final, and also recently as well in down in South Florida. But yeah, those are some of the games to watch. Of course, as we said, the SSAA, we'll talk more about this in our Pick 6. Their season gets started this Friday with regular season games. It's week 1 for them, and then, of course, the FHSAA teams are in action next Friday, August 23rd, most of them. All right.
So we're going to take a water break here, a 2-minute water break, and then we'll be back.
We'll be back with Dwight Thomas after this.
Yes.
Welcome back. Marty Pallman along with Joshua Wilson here on the Central Florida Blitz as we'll get to our interviews portion, and we'll have the show every week here on FloridaHSFootball.com among others. And Josh, well, we're joined by a legend here in the coaching, formerly the coaching persuasion. Now he just does everything statewide, doesn't he?
Yes, Mr. Dwight Thomas of Catapult Sports. I mean, he is a guru of recruiting knowledge and also football knowledge in this state. And I mean, Dwight is joining us there over from his home there in Atlantic Beach. And Dwight, definitely I appreciate you joining us here on the Central Florida Blitz. I know you've seen a lot of athletes here, over the last few months down that way, down along the I-4 corridor. And I mean, talk about some of the guys you have just seen that are just going to ball out for this season, because I know there's some ballers you have seen.
First of all, let me tell you, thanks for letting me come on. I just love you and what you try to do, and you're good at what you do. And anything I can ever do to help Joshua Wilson, I'll be
I appreciate that.
Man, because I've watched you grow from the very first time you started. We were shooting games together at the state championship games back when we had to actually film the games. But now every Friday night they got every game in America so we don't have to do that anymore. So we can spend more time with coaches and watching players. But I also want to say, man, y'all need to play your music that you just playing right there. I'm 81 years old right now, and you had me standing up dancing just whoever's picking your music, your playlist.
Yeah, I get some music that, hey, the copyright police won't come after me on either.
Oh, I'm telling you, boy, because that's good stuff right there. But I just made a quick list for you. Mm-hmm. Down the I-4 corridor, my top 12. Okay, not saying I'm not wrong, that I know any more than you or Larry Bluestein or John or Andy or all the guys that you and I know and love and we work with all the time.
Yes.
We trust them, they trust us. So that's what it's all about for me. But here's my guys. I'm just going to, so that I don't miss one, we're going to go right down it. We'll do it real quick. Damian Pickett, Zephyr Hills, free safety, committed to LSU, 52 offers. That's number one. That's number one for me. Number two, Vernell Brown, wide receiver Jones, going to Florida, 44 offers. Three's Dallas Golden from Berkeley Prep, wide receiver committed to Notre Dame, 43 offers. Now, if we had tally up all these offers, you'll see what's happening on the I-4 corridor. Number four, Elijah, I never can pronounce his name, but you don't need to pronounce his name. Just turn on the film and you'll watch him knocking people out. Even when he's injured, he knocks you out. Elijah Melendez, help me out with his last name, at Osceola.
Melendez?
Yes, 38 offers committed to Miami. Wattels Clark, that great. I've been watching him since the 8th grade. This is all he does is win, and he's going to Florida, and he's got 39 offers. It's Wattels Clark, the running back there. Harold from Gaither going to LSU. He's got 27 offers. Gerald Pringle, Armwood, going to Miami, 37 offers. Ethan Pritchett, the number one linebacker, along with Melez. We got them both right here in our neighborhood. From Sanford Seminole, 32 offers going to FSU. Ian Taylor, free safety, West Orange, going, the national champion, Michigan Wolverines. 16 offers. Tyler Williams, Armwood's wide receiver, came over from Sumner. 36 offers going to, guess where? Number one, GA.
Wow.
Max Buchanan, offensive tackle, Sanford Seminole, going to Miami. And Sergio Fleming from Edgewater, 23 offers going to Boston College. That would be the top group for me.
Wow. I think I heard 3 Miami there out of that list. They're not doing badly, it sounds like. But I did not hear Florida on that list.
Yeah, we got it. We got one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple there sitting there.
There are. Clark and Brown, both of them going to go.
Okay, Vernell Brown, that's right. You did say that.
Yeah.
And I definitely remember Vernell Brown before here at Florida. So, yeah, that's a good name to hear coming back to the Gators.
But going to grind it out camp and media days and all those things and getting to see all these guys and work with the coaches has been a blessing.
No, absolutely. I know, and you definitely are hitting several games a week, Dwight. And let me before we talk about the games you're going to hit this week, where you're at, let's talk about what is happening in Florida that I don't think you would have ever seen coming. I don't think I would have ever seen coming. But the day that high school athletes are actually getting paid and they're getting NIL deals, and here it is. We're in a different time and a different era, and I mean. This whole thing, I mean, it's just hard to fathom, but here we are. We're in a new era now.
You see which way my head's going?
Yeah, I
am telling you right now, Josh, there was not a day in 33 years I didn't look forward to going to work. There was not a day I took off. I never had a sick day. I got all my sick days. But I didn't have any. I didn't take any. I could not coach today. When you think about, just picture this. When you think about it, you can argue whether he's the greatest running back of all time, but you can't argue with Emmitt Smith. He outproduced every other running back. His stats are better than anybody else in all three levels, high school, college, and pros. All the things that I did to protect him and allow him to grow and mature as a young man would have been taken away from me. I could not have done any of that with social media, NIL, and all that. Every player on my team is going to get the same thing or nobody gets it. Now, in a locker room, I mean, I didn't allow Emmitt to do interviews because I was worried about what somebody would write or what one of the players on his team would take the wrong way, be jealous, envious, strife, arguing, fights, and all that. I don't have any of that, because I didn't allow any of that. It may sound corny to you, could not do that today. But that's how we did it. All that's been taken away. And now entitlement, there's no, Emmitt never, can you picture this? Emmitt Smith, greatest running back of all time in high school, left high school without an MVP. Try that one. There's no MVP. Unreal. There's no MVPs. We all got the same thing or nobody gets it. We're just like the emulsifier, but we all constrict or we don't constrict at all. So it may sound corny once again, and I'm sorry if I'm getting on a high horse here, but
it's good. I like this
happening to our profession and how entitlement has come in and parents think they know more than coaches. Imagine a parent coming into my office or Gene Cox or Gerald Odom or Eddie Feely's office and want to talk about playing time. You know how long that conversation would have lasted?
2 seconds.
Not even that much.
So you can't do that now. I'm not blasting parents. They're going to do everything they can for their own son. I understand that. But when we're all treated the same and there's no entitlement, great things occur.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a different time. I didn't know if we'd get to this point in high school football, but I guess after the way college football's taken off, it was, I mean, did it seem like it was going to be inevitable after that?
You know, the people I work with the 600 high school head football coaches in Florida. Those are the guys I know, and they know me. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing from so many of them about, got to get out. It's just, this is too much. I mean, that hurts my feeling because kids draw energy from you and how you are perceived. And if you're perceived as, no, maybe I don't want to do this, or this is a little too much, or this, oh my goodness. So I'm worrying about, we already got 190 of my guys left Florida to go to Georgia to coach. I keep up with that. Let's call that my defector list. But I keep up with that. And I can't blame them. I helped a lot of them get their job up there because if they want to go, I want to help them. But we're losing our coaches. I don't want to cry about pay. Everybody knows. There's coaches today making the same stipend I made in 1965 in Florida. Tell me about that. Tell me name a profession where you don't get paid for experience. Name one. Can either one of y'all come up with a profession you don't get paid for experience? Either one of y'all.
And there's none in it. I mean, and it's crazy to think that, that coaches, I mean, that the stipends, you go back to 1965 and they're still getting the same stipend from that time period. Now, I mean,
say how many years ago that is, but it was a long time ago.
That's a long time ago, and it's insane.
No, well, I mean, do you think we're to the point where, I mean, they're just gonna have a hard time finding coaches, period, because of these kind of?
We're getting less and less of the quality coaches, and I'm not knocking the coaches that aren't coaches and paid and work in the system and all that. I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't have volunteer coaches. I wanted a coach in every department. Even in the English department, I'm gonna have a coach in there because we got to put out fires. Fires occur. We got to have coaches to do that. There's coaches in this state that, oh my goodness, I'm fixing to say, don't have a coaching on staff in the school. There's some that the coach is not in the school.
The head coaching, yeah, I think that's critical for the head coach to be in the school, because otherwise, I mean, how do you keep the kids focused?
Oh, and put out the fires. I mean, you got to hear it and know. I listen, and when I say I'm talking about we coaches. We listen when they don't know we're listening.
No, you're right. And to wrap things up here, Dwight, what preseason games are you hitting up this week?
Well,
I mean, I know they got regular season SSA.
Thanks for bringing that up. And I don't want to offend Marty here or you here.
Oh gosh,
somebody is giving y'all some bad information. We've been going to Ireland now for 10 years, taking high school teams from America to play over there. We play on Friday this year. It will be IMG Academy. I'll be running with them, and they are going to be playing Episcopal of Dallas, Texas. McClay out of Tallahassee is going to be playing New Hampshire team. So,
wow.
And then the best players in Europe are going to play the best teams in Ireland. So we play on Friday. The games are on Saturday. Edgewater, I tried to get Cam to go with us, and I thought he was going with us and all that, but it's a lot of money you have to raise. I understand that. And
I know Edgewater went over there, so they're already there.
To raise that money so that he could go this year. I'm proud for Cam. Love Cam. Love his dad. Love the Eagles. Life is good. The more that we can go, the better, because it's a cultural exchange, and you're always going over on those things. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But the best games this week and next week now is the Dade. Put this on your show. The Dade, right there it is. The Dade.
Oh, yes, we will be talking about those games right there in our South Florida Blitz tomorrow night.
Yeah, do that, and then talk about those games right there. But that's where we're going to be putting our GPS wearable pods on.
Oh, wow.
At the Broward Showcase.
Oh, wow.
Those are where, if you're a sports fan in Florida, you want to be there. I would be there, but I'm going to be in Dublin, Ireland.
No, and I will tell you this, Dwight. We do have Dr. Kevin Perry. We have Dr. Kevin Perry coming on tomorrow night for the South Florida Blitz to talk about the Broward Showcase. So we'll definitely be hitting to talk about those games.
I was just with him and all of the guys down there for the 2 media days that we had down there. Great group of guys. That's going to be a true showcase.
No, absolutely. And
well, have a good trip to Dublin then.
Yes.
I'll be back. I'll be engaged on Friday night. Hopefully, I'll be on the sideline with you two characters.
No, I appreciate it.
We are characters. You're right about that. All right.
Well, we appreciate it, Dwight. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Central Florida Blitz. We'll see you on the sidelines here as we get the season ready to go, and we'll be catching up with you more during the 2024 high school football season.
Anytime for you, Josh.
No, I appreciate it, Dwight. Thank you so much. Take care. All right, that was Dwight Thomas there joining us here, and we got another water break to take.
Coach Tom, we're gonna have to have him on almost every week. That was a really good interview. He's ready to go. He's ready for the season to go like everybody else, and of course he gets to go to Ireland. That's not bad.
No, absolutely.
I would like to take that trip one of these days. But we have as you said, water break coming up. When we return, we'll have our pick six. Also, our fan question of the week coming up.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that here. Stay tuned, and we'll have the pick six.
That's right, pick six coming up right after this on the Central Florida Blitz. All right, welcome back. Marty Pallman, Joshua Wilson. Just a couple of characters talking high school football here, the Central Florida Blitz. And
Well, I guess we are a couple characters.
yeah, we are. And Coach Thomas is right. We are, but a couple of characters. But boy, again, there are actual games this week. Hard to believe it's game week. Well, some games last week in kickoff classic games, but I mean, we have games, actual regular season games this week, and then next, and the season's here, Josh. So
No, absolutely. And with that said, we will talk about the fan question and the fan poll of the week. First, we're going to introduce about the fan question. So we don't have a fan question for y'all this week from one of y'all fans, but if you have a fan question that you want to email us, you can email that to us at football@FloridaHSFootball.com to get a chance to have your question answered next week on the show. Just use subject line fan question of the week, and that is how fan question of the week is going to work. We'll take one question and every week, and we will introduce that to y'all starting next week with the week one shows across all the Blitz shows that we will have here on FloridaHSFootball.com.
we do, however, have a fan poll of the week for week one, and it's a question. Now you can see it on your screen. Who has the best chance of repeating as state champs in 2024? We talked about these teams earlier: Cocoa, Mainland, or the Masters Academy. In the example of Cocoa, a three-peat. They're trying to win their third in a row.
Yes, Cocoa trying to win third in a row. Mainland is looking for their second in a row, and the Masters Academy also looking for their second in a row in the Sunshine State Athletic Association. So we've got that right there. With that said, and honestly, that's what the fan question of the week is going to do. Every week we'll bring a fan question to you and a fan poll of the week, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and you can vote this week on FloridaHSFootball.com/polls, POLLS.
Yes, absolutely.
Look forward to,
Yes.
music. You know what that music means? This is the way to get fired up here. It's time for the pick six for, as we call it, I always love this, week 0.
Yes, week 0.
How
as
you
they
can have
call
a week that isn't a number, I don't know. But here we go, week 0. And our picks this week are going to consist of a lot of SSAA games.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get started here with Faith Christian at Cornerstone Charter, two SSA teams there in the Orlando Metro there in Orange County. And Faith Christian, Cornerstone Charter, both of them have had their fair amount of struggles, but they've had some success as well. They've, they for small schools programs, they tend to hold up their own accord there, basically. And
Right.
And also, we are going to introduce something with the picks this year. Yes. Breaking news.
Phew.
We have a computer ranking now.
Ah, yes, that's
The
right.
computer ranking is actually, we tried it last year. There was some stuff there, but it was a little wonky. But this year, things are actually set to go with the FHA computer, the Florida High School Football.com computer, I should say. And what's going to happen here is as we go through the picks here, we're going to pop up our picks on the screen, and then we're going to give you the pick from the computer here as well. So, Marty, I will let you go ahead and make your pick here first on this game, and then we're going to throw up my pick and then the computer pick as well. So go ahead and tell me what you're thinking here.
Well, a little bit rusty at this, obviously. I haven't picked games in a while and trying to recall maybe who would coming off last year, but I guess that I would probably take Faith Christian in this instance. Knowing the past of these teams, it's tough to pick week 1 for that reason, but I believe Faith Christian probably favored, and I would take them to win.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same here, and I'm going Faith Christian as well in this one. And actually, and when we get ready to pop this up here on the screen here, how about this? Faith Christian, and yes, the computer is picking Faith Christian to win by 15 over Cornerstone Charter. So how about that? I mean, we're already making we're going to see if the computer keeps up, or we're going to get behind the computer here. So.
I like the NIL that we were talking about. Now we have the betting lines. No,
no, it's not betting lines.
Not
We can't call that.
Yeah, they're not betting.
Otherwise,
lines.
Craig Damon might come after us.
Exactly. I know.
I'm just kidding.
Although every other sport now has it, but but yeah, that's not what it is. Obviously, it's Josh's the computer ranking that he has that comes up and that spits out that number. So. Faith Christian 15.
Yes, and there's a lot of factors. It's pretty much analytical data, basically. It's numbers, basically, and it consists of strength of schedule and a little bit of historical from the last 2 years. So it keeps in mind of what how the teams have trended over the last couple of years, and then of course the games from over time. The games in week 1 are not going to matter as much as the games in week 10 when we get later in the season.
Right. Exactly. So. All right, on to our second game of the week, and this should be a good one. Foundation Academy, and we talked about this team earlier, defending SSAA 11-man state champion, Masters Academy. And
yes.
Foundation Academy out of Winter Garden, Masters Academy from Oviedo, to our Orange County teams.
Yes, and the Masters Academy is the defending state champs here in the Sunshine State Athletic Association. Now, a thing to note about Foundation Academy is they just joined the SSAA after being in FHSAA, so if you think about it, a few years ago, Foundation Academy during COVID, they were state semifinalists. So this is a big step down for Foundation Academy, honestly.
Yeah, it is. And really, unfortunately for them in this game, I got to say, I'm taking the defending state champion, Masters Academy, to win this game. I think it'll be a tough one for Foundation Academy. Yeah, you say they've been there before, but they're probably going to have a little bit of a growing pain there in the SSAA, and they're going to have a tough matchup week 1.
Yeah, this is where I'm thinking the same thing, too. Honestly, the Masters Academy, they had a strong run last year to that state championship game there in the SSAA, and honestly, I'll tell you this right now, that is where all our picks are going, and that's where even the computer pick is going. The Masters Academy 23 over Foundation Academy to open up the season here.
So that is game number 2. We both have the Masters Academy, as you said,
yes.
23 favorite Masters Academy by 23 over Foundation Academy. All right, game 3. Santa Fe Catholic out of Lakeland, Legacy Charter.
Yes.
That is Kissimmee.
Yeah. Oh, Coy.
I'm pardon me, McCoy. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Got to get used to my cities again. Yep, that is game 3.
Now, Santa Fe Catholic, this is interesting. Santa Fe Catholic, the brother of the head coach at Foundation Academy is the head coach at Santa Fe Catholic, and but Legacy Charter kind of struggled a little bit. Santa Fe Catholic has had some wins, a few wins over the last couple seasons. They have found their way to the middle of the pack of the Sunshine State Athletic Association. So, and I'm kind of curious to see how this game goes. See if Legacy Charter bounces back after they had a good season in 2022. They kind of took a step back in 2023. I'm kind of curious to see how both of these teams perform, and honestly see if they can make some inroads with some of the top tier teams in the Sunshine State Athletic Association. And my pick here is going to be Santa Fe Catholic in this one.
Well, I agree with you again. We're 3 for 3. I think Santa Fe Catholic will win this game, even though it's on the road. I like them as well.
No, absolutely, and we're gonna have 13. It's gonna be 13 over for Santa Fe Catholic versus Legacy Charter. But honestly, this is just a team that I think it's a game. It could be interesting. The line actually could be by the time we look at the margin of victory, it could be smaller than 13 in this situation, depending. That some of these teams are shaking off the rust. But there you go, and we'll pull. Well, there we go. Got the pick up right there. So. Yeah, Santa Fe Catholic for both of us here in this one. And Marty, we got our 4th game coming up here on this one.
Yeah, this is another game. Mount Dora Christian, another powerhouse team, and they will host Orangewood Christian out of Maitland. And I tell you, Mount Dora Christian, we've talked about them before. This is a good program there at Mount Dora Christian. I think I'd like them to win this game at home week 1.
No, absolutely. And of course, Mount Dora Christian, they won the SSAA 5A title last year, so that'll be real interesting. Orangewood Christian, again, been more in the middle of the pack of the SSAA, and I honestly think it's just going to be a really tough game for Orangewood Christian coming out of the gate here. And I definitely think I agree with you, Marty, that this is going to be Mount Dora Christian's game here, and nobody else's.
Yeah, and as you will put on the screen here, The computers seem to agree.
Yes. And for that, the computer
Big
ranking
time.
agrees.
41.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes. Mount Dora Christian 41 over Orangewood Christian to start the season.
Let's see if that gets Orangewood Christian fired up, seeing that.
I might be providing some bulletin board material.
I might help some teams. You're right. But Mount Dora Christian, a 41-point favorite, or favored by 41 over Orangewood. As you see, Game 5, St. Joseph out of St. Augustine travels right down the road to Deltona to take on Trinity Christian. And again, St. Joseph, another team that has been in the FHSAA, now in the SSAA, and they have had some good years as well. I like the Flashes to win this game of St. Joseph.
You know, I mean, Alan B.J. Johnson is back at Deltona Trinity Christian. St. Joseph actually is, you know, they've had some struggles. Both of them have had some struggles. So, you know, they don't have the rosters like they used to back in the day. And actually, honestly, my thought is this, and if I know how Alan B.J. Johnson is, you know, he's going to get this team back up and rolling here at Deltona Trinity Christian. And I'm actually going to go the reverse of the computer and Marty's pick and call Trinity Christian on this one, actually. And we'll pop that up here on the screen. And there you go. How about that? I am going the opposite this week on this one. If I need to choose one.
Your computer seems to agree with me, not with you, but in this case. But yeah, that's not a bad line. 11. I mean, obviously 41 a little bigger, but yeah, that'd probably be a pretty good ball game. I agree with you there, and so it's good to have some differences. I'm glad we have a little bit of a difference there. Our sixth and final game here of Week 0.
Yes.
Seven Rivers Christian from Lecanto. They'll travel to Winter Park to take on Trinity Prep, and gotta say here, I like Seven Rivers Christian's program, always have, and I think that they will go on the road and win this opening game against Trinity Prep.
No, I agree. I think this is going to be, you know, Monty Van, he's a really strong coach there. Brian Kells is the head coach there at Trinity Prep. He just took over last year. You know, if the name Brian Kells sounds familiar, that's because he basically led the team there at Orange City University for a long time, getting them going and all that, and getting them into a position to win in playoff games. Got out of coaching, but was going to go into private sector and kind of, ended up at Trinity Prep. And Trinity Prep has been a team that has struggled, and they did struggle last year in their first year in the SSAA. So with that said, I honestly believe where the computer is leading to this one, and I'm going with Seven Rivers Christian like you as well, Marty. And the computer says Seven Rivers Christian 19 over Trinity Prep.
All right, there you go. So those are the pick six games to pick this opening week 0 and the SSAA. And of course, next week we'll have 6 games from the FHSAA to pick week 1. But Josh, here we are.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, it's back. We're here. We're back. It was good to have Coach Thomas on. Enjoyed talking to him as always. He'll be on the road in Ireland. But I tell you, I'll be at a game somewhere this Friday night, and then next week start my normal Friday nights. Last Friday was the last Friday without football for a long time.
For a lot of people,
Till
yes.
December, really.
Well, some people don't. They're definitely not. This is the football's this week for a lot of teams. So
yep, that's right.
We'll see what's happening.
So that went by fast. It always does. It seems like week 1 or week 0 here, as you say, in the Central Florida Blitz. And coming up, we'll have another in just a little while, the Gulf Coast Blitz tomorrow night, the North and South Florida Blitz. But we appreciate you tuning in for this first edition of the 2024 Central Florida Blitz. And for Joshua Wilson and Marty Pallman, say good night, Josh.
Good night,
Josh.
Yes. Well, y'all have a good night. We'll see you here in about around 8:30 for the Gulf Coast Blitz right here on FHSAA.com and on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer to 1,000 subscribers, and we need them. Thank you so much. We'll see you around 8:30 for the Gulf Coast Blitz right here on FootHSFootball.com.